Okay, so now that the figure is actually completely on camera here, thank goodness, I actually got my tripod to work at this point. Let's go ahead and transform him. I like to start off by removing the wings here. And this one has a tendency to become loose, but fortunately it's caught in between these tank pieces here that actually does keep it secured. I mean, not as secured as this one, but it does stay in place just fine. Anyway, let's go ahead and untab the tanks from the bottom here so I can remove these wing bits, which should just slide out now. That's one. And remove this one as well. There we go. Okay, and now all this here, it's just going to stay down for the moment as I flip in the turret piece in his head and then bring down his head. Got to open up his chest pieces here where those hidden missiles are. And again, easier when you have fingernails. Cannot get this open for a reason. There's one. And there's two. Flip down this piece here all the way. So we're going to go ahead and remove the entire tank portion of Omega Supreme, and we'll set that aside now. And now that that's taken care of, let's come back to the back of the figure here and bring up his arms all the way like so. Now we're going to remove this entire piece, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and finish working on his base portion. So we'll flip that up about halfway, rotate. As you can now clearly see, he does have a waist swivel joint like I was telling you. Turn it all the way to the back like so. Make sure it's lined up straight like that. Go ahead and split his legs like this. And then we're going to turn him this way and sit him down here. I want to make sure that this is still all on camera, because I don't know if you can see the base. Yeah, you can actually see it. Alright. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is pretty much the end portion of the transformation of this base section of him. You just bring in the knees all the way. Well, actually, there's something I forgot to do here. See, I haven't done this in a while, but you're supposed to come back here, and you're supposed to, as I get clearance, bring up these ramps, which I totally forgot to do. My apologies, but there we go. Now we can fold these in all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. This one does not want to. There we go. So we can bring down these ramps now for pretend play for your Micromasters or something. And now we can bring that all the way down like that. And believe it or not, that is the base section for Omega Supreme. It's not much of a transformation, and I gotta say, comparing this to the original Omega Supreme figure, this is kind of disappointing. I'm just being honest about it. I don't hate it. I'm just disappointed with the way this played out, because it's just basically Omega Supreme, a good chunk of him separated for, other reasons, of course. But when it really comes down to it, it's just the body of Omega Supreme sitting down sort of Indian style. Almost like Fortress Maximus when you transform him into his starship mode. It's just the robot laying face down. That's pretty much it. I mean, this isn't really that complex as the Generation 1 figure actually was. So it's like, wow. I mean, really? Anyway, I'm not going to go on rambling about it. Let's just continue on. So what's the next step for the guy? Well, we do have a road, which we should. So as we open up the wing section, you will see down here we've got these support beams for, I'm guessing you could say, the bridge. The space bridge, because that's what it looks like. And there you have that. That's one. I'll go ahead and transform this one now with the better connection at the top. Flip that out. And they only actually come out one way, and you'll know for sure when you go about transforming it. So there we go. That's two. And they actually hold up on their own without being attached to the guy. That's actually pretty cool. So as I move around for a second and make room so I can get this all on camera, it's a simple tabbing in connection here, which is a little hard at first and kind of scary, to tell you the truth, as these are some very tiny pegs, which if they do break off, then this is pretty much shot. And I mean, it's not something that you really want to break, so you might want to be a little delicate with this. So that's one side. Let's go ahead and get the other side now. So I just do the same thing as I did on the back, and just try and get this to tab in, which again you want to be gentle with, which I think it's in there. And I put the support beam back up, but there we go. Now we can get this one to go in. Maybe not. Let's try that again. You can only come in from the side. You can't actually tab this in from the top or the bottom. It's the way it's engineered. It doesn't work that way for the transformation, but that is the complete base mode now. Again, not much to really write home about. Comparing it to the Generation 1 figure, it's kind of a laugh, to tell you the truth. But for what they're going for here, it's okay. It does have some nice detail on the inside and all that, and I'm sure that repro labels are going to have a lot of fun creating stickers for the guy if they haven't done it already, but there's that. So let's go ahead and work on the tank next. So for the tank, what you need to do is first you have to open up this section here, which again, fingernails, but I do not have. You do not want to actually flip up these flaps here, because it's not safe. You could stretch these over time and they could break. You don't want to do that. You want to try and get it to open up from here. Oh, this is just really fighting me. I miss my fingernails. Come on. Maybe I can force it by... Well, maybe that's a stupid idea, but I was thinking maybe the actual cannon, as you can see in here, might be able to pop this open with a little force by pushing on the inside. It's not really doing the job. There we go. Right, so anyway, now that that's open, we can flip out the real turret to the tank, rotate it, and this entire section is going to straighten up like so, like that. Now we got to, on this hinge here, bring this down, and then it's going to tab in right here, right here. Make sure this is straight, because Omega Supreme's head is going to go inside that turret like that, creating the back section, which of course it looks awkward if you see that you got that little barrel right there for Omega Supreme's head, which the big barrel is exactly what that's supposed to be. Yes, there's limitations to the way they could have done it, but this was the best that they could do. So we'll untab the bottom section now. Or we can also flip this back up, close this back up, because we're done with this area. Flip these around. Take this entire bottom section here and bring it in. And then there's going to be a tab on the back. Tap that in. Make sure this is all straight. Here we go. There's the tank mode for Omega Supreme. We do have some working wheels at the bottom. Sadly, we don't have any electronics. We don't even have a motorized gimmick. That's pretty much how it works right there. That's Omega Supreme's tank mode in a nutshell. You do have a little bit of articulation at these guns here on the sides. You can actually put those effect pieces inside the barrels. Make it look like he's blasting some Decepticons as he's pretending to ride by. Right? So he's protecting the base. You have some articulation here on this tank barrel as well. It moves up and down. Unfortunately, due to the fact that his head is actually the back portion of the turret, means you cannot rotate this at all. Now, if you move the head out of the way, which you would have to undo the transformation here, you could get some articulation because of the transformation. This has to rotate to go back inside here. Now, having said that, the inside, if I can get this to open up again. Wow, I actually got it this time. You do have some nice paintwork for these ramps here. Very lovely silver. You've got also this these tabs right here which keep countdown in place. You can actually store countdown on the inside if I were to transform him back into his moon rover mode or whatever it's called very quickly, as he fails to do. I'll just find that'll work. So let's go ahead and put countdown back in here, and it keeps him secured in place like that. He's not going anywhere. You can close this back up. Omega Supreme can take him for a ride if you want, like so. Go all the way around, just like that. Come back. Pretty cool. It's a very nice feature for what it is, even though I would have preferred if there was a motorized gimmick, but due to the transformation and I'm sure the cost-cutting measures that were involved on the guy, it's fine. I understand. Anyway, that's pretty much the tank. So let's go ahead and move it for a moment, so we can look at the final piece to the figure, which is the arms, which are going to become, obviously, the rocket. So I need to find a good spot to get this all on camera here, but it's about to shrink in just a moment as you slide the arms down like that. So that reveals the rest of this portion here with the opening cockpit for the rocket, which we'll get to in just a moment. But back to the transformation on this. So what do we do with this here, this double hinge? Well, we're going to bring it up, and we're going to open up these hinges here, and we're going to flip out these hinges as well. That's going to give us the rest of this entire section here for the rocket. Try to get this to fold in on this hinge and bring this up like that. So this entire piece now will line up with this back end here on the rocket, and it should create a very nice and very long rocket piece. So this has a tendency to untab on itself, and like there we go. And then we can articulate these claw pieces in any position we want, like that. And there you have your rocket. And well, I mean, it's huge. It's actually gigantic compared to the original. This is like, I mean, this is a good chunk of my arm right there. And in comparisons, you can see that this is a huge rocket. And like I said, also, as I showed you earlier, when it comes to storing away the pieces, like the blast effects and all that, you can open up this top section here. You can put countdown in there. And you can maybe store a couple other mini bots if you got some, like that. You also have, like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the claws, you can put the blast effect pieces down here and have like boosters for the rocket, like it's launching from this launch pad, which is freaking amazing. Very nice stuff. Yes, it's very unstable on this bed here, but that's my fault. It is perfectly stabled everywhere else on this figure. Right. Anyway, let's get that back on there. And yes, it does have a tendency to untab on its own, depending on how you've got it. I mean, sometimes I can get it to lock in flush on both ends, and then sometimes I can get the bottom to lock in just fine, but the top will actually keep popping out. So, you know, it's a little bit of a nitpick, but it's just my figure. Your results could be different, but that's pretty much it. There's not much else to really say, except I can give you a good look at some extra stuff. Like, again, you do have your blast effect pieces, which you can actually tab into the bridge in various places, like here and here, and you can put this here. Maybe not there, but maybe right here, because that hole's actually bigger. And then you can take this small one, put that in right there. Again, you can also take all of it if you want it, or maybe some of it, like demonstrated here, and you can have like the blast effect for launching the rocket, taking the Autobots to Cybertron, I guess is what you could say. Put them all together, just like that, and have a bigger effect for the flames that are coming out from the bottom, right? There we go. That's that. And the only other thing to really show off here is just as much as I can of the base itself. Like I said, it's got some very lovely detail on the inside. Repro Label is just going to have a very lovely field day on this guy if they haven't done a set already, and maybe I'm just falling behind. But it is a very, very nice set. My only complaint about it is that it's lacking thereof when compared to the original Generation 1 figure, only because I really believe that if they had more time and they put more effort into it, maybe a little more money, we could have got a better base mode with a better comparisons to the Generation 1 figure, which you really had to take that figure entirely apart to create both the base mode, the rocket mode, and the tank mode, which was something that was very spectacular for its time. Comparing this to that is a laughing joke, unfortunately. Because, again, it looks like Omega Supreme is just sitting down. A good portion of his body is just sitting there. And that's kind of lazy, in all honesty. But nonetheless, I mean, it really does pay off here in the end. I mean, you got a very spectacular robot mode, which I have not that much complaining to do at all on the guy. But when it really comes to the base mode, it's the sacrifice that really makes up the spectacular robot mode that we did receive, which is the whole point on this guy. Omega Supreme should always be in this robot mode. Base mode has a little bit of difficulty being displayed around this place because it's just too big. Compared to Devastator, which I did say I would be bringing him back into this video, you can see Devastator is pretty small compared to this base mode, including the rocket, which that rocket is like, wow, that's huge. I mean, that's got to be at least 3/4 of HasLab Unicron right there standing that tall. I mean, it is a gigantic rocket. So, there's that. And I can do one more comparisons, and that's pretty much going to wrap up this video as I bring back in Optimus Prime, so you can get a look at him compared to the base. Now, obviously, doesn't look that good with a Voyager figure on it, but if you have small little Transformer figures, like maybe a deluxe class Prowl who can actually race around the rings of Omega Supreme, there's something. But it works very nicely with your Micromaster figures or Bowmaster figures, whatever they're calling them these days, which that looks great. Not you. Get out of the picture. So, I mean, there you go. Very cool. And, you know, I really do like this set. You know, there isn't that much to really complain about except for the base being lazy. It's just my opinion. Everyone else is going to have a different opinion. But, yeah, I really don't like the base mode as much as I love the robot mode, because it's the whole reason Omega Supreme was even bought, is because of that incredible robot mode. The base mode is just for fun, but the robot mode is how my figure is really going to be displayed around here, especially since room in this room is pretty much limited to a certain amount of things. Anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap this up. Can I recommend Omega Supreme for $150, which I believe is the actual asking price on this figure at the moment? It's not a figure you can actually buy in stores at this time, as far as I know. You can only get him online from third-party sellers like Big Bad Toy Store, The Chosen Prime. You want to say eBay, that's more power to you, even though they're scalpers, so beware. Yeah, I could say he's definitely worth it. Base mode, not really that much fun, but the robot mode is where the charm really is at with this guy. And in my opinion, he's still worth the price point of $150. If you pay anything more, you're gonna have buyer remorse, and that's sad to say, but it's the honest to God truth. And that's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. I'm so sorry that this was actually long, but there really was so much to show off and explain, and I'm sure I could have done better if I had more time and effort on my hands, which at this moment I do not. But the fact that I actually did try to make this video review for your viewing pleasure, you really can't argue with the results. So, questions or comments, do hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you liked today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until next time, my friends, this is your unprofessional toy reviewer, Res Power, signing off, saying thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you whenever you see me.